Hello kids, let's dive into the enchanting magical fairy tale of Cinderella. Many years in the past, there was a gentleman who was married to a charming lady. They had a single daughter who was extremely devoted to her parents. Unfortunately, when she was still quite young, her mother passed away, leaving her husband and daughter in sorrow. After some time, the young girl's father married another woman. This woman was arrogant and conceited, with two daughters who were just as unpleasant as she was. As a result, the poor girl noticed a negative change in everything at home. She faced all her challenges with patience, keeping her complaints to herself and never sharing them with her father. Despite her tireless work, she grew more beautiful in both appearance and demeanour as each year went by. The king's son hosted a magnificent ball, inviting all individuals of high social standing. Our two young ladies received invitations, and the focus shifted to the luxurious outfits they would adorn for the occasion. Finally, the long-awaited day arrived. The two joyful sisters departed in high spirits, and Cinderella watched them until the coach disappeared from view. She started crying deeply. As she sobbed, her godmother, who happened to be a fairy, appeared in front of her. "Cinderella," the fairy spoke, "I am your godmother, and I have come here to lift your spirits for your dear mother's sake. Stop crying. You will attend the grand ball tonight, but you must follow my instructions closely." Cinderella was asked to fetch a pumpkin from the garden, and she brought back the finest one available. Her fairy godmother swiftly scooped it out and then tapped it with her wand, transforming it into a stunning carriage. Later on, the fairy glanced inside the mousetrap and discovered 6 mice. She gently touched them with her wand, and each mouse transformed into a magnificent horse. The rat trap contained 2 large rats. One of these she turned into a coachman and the other into a postilion. The fairy then told Cinderella to go into the garden and seek for 6 lizards. These she changed into 6 footmen dressed in the grey livery. After completing all the tasks, the gentle godmother touched her with her wand, transforming her shabby attire into a stunning ball gown adorned with pearls and silver. Then she presented her with a pair of glass slippers crafted delicately from spun glass, as fine as a spider's web. Once Cinderella was dressed in such finery, her fairy godmother instructed her to board the magnificent carriage and warned her to depart the ball before midnight. Upon her arrival, her beauty amazed everyone. The gallant prince warmly welcomed her and escorted her to the ballroom. The king and queen were captivated by her presence, and the prince was too preoccupied with attending to her needs at the supper table to eat anything himself. While Cinderella was seated, she heard the clock strike 11:15. As she stood up to depart, the prince insisted that she accept an invitation for the ball the next evening. Upon arriving home, her godmother commended her for her punctuality and granted permission for her to attend the ball the following night. Even though she appeared tired, her sisters didn't show sympathy. Instead, they teased her with vivid descriptions of the magnificent place they had visited, focusing on the stunning princess. Cinderella was thrilled to hear all this and inquired about the princess's name, but they responded that no one knew it. They spoke highly of the princess, sparking Cinderella's interest in attending the next ball to see her. However, this only deepened their disdain for Cinderella, as they refused to lend her even their simplest dresses. The following evening, the two sisters and Cinderella attended the ball. Cinderella, even more elegantly dressed than previously, had an even more delightful time. She was so engrossed in the prince's affectionate words that she did not notice time passing as quickly. To her alarm, she heard the clock strike 12. She fled from the ballroom. But in a moment, the coach changed again to a pumpkin, the horses to mice, the coachman and postilion to rats, the footman to lizards, and Cinderella's beautiful dress to her old shabby clothes. In her haste, she dropped one of her glass slippers and reached home out of breath, with none of her godmother's fairy gifts but one glass slipper. After the ball, Cinderella's sisters excitedly talked about the mysterious princess and recounted how she dropped a tiny glass slipper, which the prince retrieved. The court observed the prince's unwavering determination to locate the slipper's owner. Shortly after, a royal herald announced that the king's son would wed the woman whose foot perfectly fit the glass slipper. This announcement created quite a stir. Women from all walks of life were allowed to attempt to wear the slipper, but to no avail. Cinderella then spoke up saying, "Let me try. Maybe it will fit me." The slipper slid on effortlessly. The two sisters were greatly upset by this turn of events, but their amazement peaked when Cinderella produced the matching slipper from her pocket. At that instant, the fairy godmother emerged and used her wand to transform Cinderella's attire. Witnessing this, her sisters recognized her as the stunning lady from the ball and humbly asked for her forgiveness by falling at her feet. Shortly afterward, she married the prince, much to the delight of the entire court.